Okay, welcome everybody to Wall Street Reporter's next Super Stock live stream, April 12th. We are back with one of our favorite 10 baggers of all time, potentially the next 100 bagger, or maybe really our first official 100 bagger, NexTech AR, NEXCF, Evan Gappelberg, CEO. Evan, welcome back to the program.
Thanks, Jack. But, I think we ended up hitting 20x because when we started, it was 50 cents. We peaked at $10 Canadian. I think
I was wrong. Yeah, because I think I was counting the American. I was counting the US side 50 cents. So it's actually, it's just, I was actually wrong. So it's actually a 20 bagger.
20 bagger.
I apologize. I apologize. We always want to have these numbers correct. I'm going to correct this because I don't want to, like I get it. People say I exaggerate, but I'm very conservative in reality because, okay, so basically our goal for anybody that's brand new tuning in for the first time, our goal is to bring you those stocks which have that 10x to 100x upside potential. Companies going after massive multi-billion-dollar market opportunities that are at a key inflection point right now in their growth trajectory, and there are multiple catalysts built in to the stock which can ignite that massive increase in shareholder value, which we have seen already numerous times over 9, 10x to 50x. Hopefully our first 100x coming up with potentially NexTech. So for today's format, I think we're going to do a slideshow, right? Evan, you're going to do a little slideshow?
Yeah.
And then, very, very important, we're going to open up for audience questions. So please, guys, ask your questions to Evan and then decide for yourself if NexTech is going to be that first 100 bagger. So with that said, Evan, let me turn over to the slides and
okay, so we'll jump right in. So this is NexTech's 2022 deck. Here's our disclaimer page. Obviously, everybody that works here is a genius, especially our CTO, Nima, who came from Apple Computer. He was running their computer vision and AI lab, and he left that to crack the code on 3D modeling from 2D images, as well as CAD to poly. And we've taken that tech and brought it to market, and now we're benefiting from that acquisition. So if you look at our relationships, we have relationships and partnerships with Microsoft, Ericsson, Singtel, Google. We're a preferred 3D model partner for Google. And we're working on the same kind of relationship, only maybe even more intimate with an Amazon. If you look at our integrations, Stripe, Shopify, Shopline, those are all top tier e-commerce platforms that we've integrated with. Our e-commerce customers represent a wide swath of e-com businesses, from large like Kohl's, where they have over 3,000 models that we've created for them, to Never Summer, North by North, Poly, and Bark. These are all mid-size e-commerce sites. CB2 is Crate and Barrel, and so there's a lot of customers, a lot of experience that we have in making the 3D models. Why invest in NexTech? I mean, that's the billion-dollar question. The market right now that we're targeting is essentially the metaverse. It's a booming market that's fundamentally transforming online shopping with 3D models and augmented reality immersive experience. The timing could not be better. For NexTech, we've had 4 years that we've anticipated this moment for, and we've been preparing for, and now it's here, and we're fully locked and loaded and ready for this moment in history. So the timing is perfect because the market has developed and we're here to take full advantage of it. When you look at scale, we have the most scalable, SaaS-based, vertically integrated technology stack, which we'll get into in a minute. If you look at our technology, we've proven it in the market. We've produced over 10,000 3D models, 70% of those in Q4 and Q1 of 2022 alone. That proves that our technology is in demand and we're able to produce at scale. The leadership, as mentioned, blue chip leadership, lots of entrepreneurs, as well as industry veterans from big tech, including Apple Computer. If you look at our 3D models, what is 3D model? What is a 3D model? It's really a computer graphic technology that produces a three-dimensional representation of any object. And depending upon the quality, it can be photorealistic to the point that you cannot tell the difference between the actual product and the 3D model. We're, as a mission, building the first vertically integrated AI powered, that's artificial intelligence powered 3D model factory for the metaverse. That is our mission. That is what we're building, and that is a big deal. If you look at our tech stack, it's powered by artificial intelligence. That is our secret sauce. We have 3 distinct AI technologies that come together to power 3D and augmented reality content creation at mass scale. We have our 2D to 3D conversion. Again, it's AI driven. We take a 2D picture off of an e-commerce site. The AI then turns that magically into a 3D model. We also have a CAD to poly conversion tech, which allows us to take a CAD file, which is what manufacturers use to create all products that we buy, and convert that into a lightweight poly file that you can embed on a website. That's very, very high tech and extremely valuable technology that we own. Mesh to texture conversion is quite complex. It basically means that you can create a mesh, which is almost like a blank canvas of a product, and then point and click on the texture that you want to drape over that canvas. So if you think about a couch, for instance, so you'll have the mesh and the shape of the couch, and then you literally point on the texture that you want to drape over that couch. And that's a significant piece of technology that we own. And again, this is all driven by AI. If you look at the explosive growth in our business, you could see 3D model orders have skyrocketed. Just recently, you could see it's kind of like a hockey stick. And the 3D AR model views are matching that same trajectory. It's essentially straight up. That's, I mean, as good as it gets in the world of technology. Our double advantage is that we have ARtized 3D, which again is for e-commerce retailers. We take 2D photos off of their website and turn them into 3D images, 3D models. But the second advantage is the CAD to poly, where we take CAD files and turn those into 3D models. That's both retailers and manufacturers. That is end-to-end 3D model creation. It is a significant advantage. It's unmatched in the marketplace today. So we have an advantage with pricing, quality, scalability, and then we double it with both retail and manufacturing. Here's a video that kind of explains the technology. This is the ARtized 3D. So this is 2D images to 3D models. This is what we offer on Shopify. And the total addressable market here is 133 billion by 2024. Of course, it just literally jumps out. I don't know why it does that, but it does that. So we're going to start, we'll go back into the deck. All right. Should we try it again? It happened again. All right. So we're not going to play that video, which is hilarious. But we'll move on to the next slide. So CAD to poly self-serve, again, that's a competitive advantage. ARtized CAD, 3D model creation using ARtized CAD is much faster and more cost effective without compromising quality. vertically integrated. It integrates with other Metaverse Suite apps, and it's AI powered using ML and our texture creation technology. And it also has the 3D SaaS model attached to it. Now, if you look at ARitize CAD, we see that basically as a significant opportunity. Total addressable market is 9.7 billion. Back to e-commerce and 2D to 3D, ARitize 3D. Globally, returns represent a huge problem. The average return rate's around 30% of all products sold, and it's a $1.47 trillion annual problem. That's how much it costs retailers. In the US alone, it's $170 billion worth of returns. So if you look at what we do is we reduce returns by up to 40%. That's a significant savings of over $50 billion in the e-com ecosystem. If you look at the issues, the problems that we're solving, the challenges historically have been, how do you create 400 million 3D models? How do you do it? It's not easy. It's historically been very time consuming, taking weeks to make a single model. Technical talent was needed, the quality was inconsistent, and the cost was high, not scalable. That's been the historic problem. Currently, we're able to solve that problem with our AI. If you think about why does someone need a product in 3D or AR? Well, 94% higher conversion rate, 61% of consumers prefer augmented reality, and you get that 40% reduction in returns using 3D models. Those are big numbers, and they do move the needle. Big tech is driving 3D adoption. Google is now indexing 3D models higher in search. We have over 5,000 models that we've indexed already with Google. And Shopify has declared that you might rank on the first page of search results if you have a 3D model. If you look at this magic quadrant, you'll see that we stand alone in the affordability and scalability category. And if you look at some of these names here, they've been acquired. A lot of our competitors are getting picked off. Eighth Wall was just recently acquired, like 2 weeks ago by Niantic. Sketchfab was acquired, I think, in Q4 of 2021 by Epic Games. Turbo Squid was acquired by Getty Images in Q1 of 2021. And the list goes on and on. A couple of these companies actually are trying to sell themselves to NexTech. So there's a lot of consolidation in the market. If you look at our end-to-end solution, we've essentially packaged all of our tech into an end-to-end solution for e-commerce. We create the 3D model, we host it in our cloud. You can configure your 3D models for different colors, animations, product hotspots, and then ultimately distribute them on your website in a web AR experience. Or you can use the same 3D model in an augmented reality advertisement on Snap, Facebook, or Instagram. Ultimately, all of that does is transform your e-commerce site into a 3D metaverse type of experience. So this is showing you product hotspots. This is just one of the upsells after we create the 3D model. You have those little white dots in this image, the sneakers bouncing. And this is in augmented reality. You click on those little white dots and there's those pop-ups, basically little factoids that give you information about the product that you're looking at. And that's something we offer as an upsell. Here's another upsell. This is an animation You could see that, those 3D assets are moving. That would be another upsell. This is an exploded view. This would be another upsell that we would charge extra for. So it's not included in just the 3D model creation. You would pay an additional fee. And for us, that's 100% pure profit. This is by far the most popular upsell and by far our most profitable product. I'm going to try and play the video, but I'm really not sure what's going to happen when I hit play. I have a feeling it's going to bounce me out. But let's give it a go. Okay, it's taken us to the Vimeo, but that's fine. Can you see my screen, Jack? Can you see the video? Oh, you can. Okay. So I'm going to play the video. So this is the configurator. It shows you a single hot tub, and you click on the different buttons at the bottom there, and it's changing the shell, color, and design. It's all on demand. This is all software that we build to go with the 3D model, and we're able to charge a premium for that. And that's, significant revenue for NexTech because we're able to get a significant upsell out of that. This is our 3D carousel, which is essentially another upsell, reduces product photography costs by up to 90%. So if you think about this, this would replace your product photography or your photo carousel. You would just have a 3D carousel. This is our B2B virtual staging product. So this would be for interior decorators or designers where you could take 3D models and essentially insert them into any room, any scene. This is our swirl. These are all upsells. These are, this is upsell after upsell after upsell. So we create the 3D model and then we upsell with these additional features. This is the decorator, which is a very interesting piece of technology because it allows you to design a room. So I'll play the video. We'll bounce out and then we'll play this. So there you are with the decorator. This is an exciting slide because
I predict in the next 10 years that crypto.
Yeah, so this is an interesting slide because it speaks to the total addressable market. If you think about the 7.5 million merchants, the 400 million product SKUs that need to be turned into 3D, in the small merchant side of the market, that represents 3.75 million merchants basically. It's equivalent to 2.6 billion in monthly recurring revenue or 26 billion in ARR. In the mid market, we see the opportunity as 8 billion in MRR and 86 billion in ARR. And on enterprise size, it's 3.4 billion and 34 billion. So the sweet spot is actually the mid market, which is where we're winning customers. It's very exciting because that is what we've identified as our sweet spot as a company. And it's also where the market is the biggest and where the biggest potential is. So again, brands we work with, If you want to demonstrate some of the augmented reality experiences that I've been showing on the slides here and see them for yourself in your room right now, take out your phone, open up your camera, and scan the QR code under the image. So my favorite is the Beeple $69 million NFT. You could put that on your wall and have a $69 million piece of art on your wall. The furniture is also cool, you know, the sports equipment, the bike, accessories, it's all pretty cool, but $69 million piece of art, that's the coolest of them all. So CAD to 3D examples, you could put a boat in your driveway if you want. You could scan that QR code. Don't try and put it in your house. You won't fit. Put it in the driveway. The same thing with the jacuzzi and the cars, but these are examples of products that we've taken manufacturers' CAD files and turned them into 3D models. So you can see the Ford jacuzzi and the boats. So this is our 3D model journey. I'll take you into the video. So this shows you what you can do.
Wait, Evan? The video is not playing.
I hear you, Jack. What's that?
Yeah, the videos, I think there's something where only the audio is playing because we're using a stream. Maybe the videos aren't playing. So
Oh, interesting. Okay, let me.
yeah, so I guess we'll have to edit in, but yeah, we hear the sound, but the video is not showing up. So I'll let you go.
All right, no problem. Let me go back in. All right. We'll just scroll forward. Can you see my screen now? All right. So we were up to this video. Let's move on to Shopify and NexTech integration. So Shopify has declared the future of e-commerce is 3D. We totally agree with them. And we've integrated with Shopify through a self-serve app available to all merchants. So that's live today. BigCommerce is coming in the next couple of weeks, WooCommerce and Magento. So integration puts us in front of millions of merchants globally. And that's kind of what we're focused on for our ARitize 3D. We also have another part of our business which involves creating the metaverse. And this is our metaverse suite. It's a subscription-based platform that really unifies our entire technology suite of 3D and augmented reality products. There's a lot of tech built into this. ARitize 3D, ARitize CAD, Swirl, CPG, Decorator, Maps, Holograms, all of that in one login. So you log in and all this tech is now at your fingertips. And everything's built around a SaaS subscription model. This is going live within days. If you think about the metaverse, you know, a lot of people kind of are fuzzy. Um, in general, it's the new internet. It's enhanced to deliver 3D content, spatially organized information and experiences. So I imagine it as you're living inside the internet instead of going online. You're in line, you're online all the time. And the experience is going to happen through the glasses. And this is all happening. in 2022, 2023, and beyond. So the Web 1.0 was just connecting us to information. 2.0 was connecting us to social media, essentially people. And the metaverse is everything: objects, people, places. You'll be able to transport yourself with Elon Musk to Mars. Elements of the metaverse and where NexTech operates. So the metaverse is pretty vast. It encompasses tons of tech, and some people, essentially are looking at it as a $10 trillion long-term opportunity. NexTech participates and operates with online shopping, entertainment and events, digital humans, spatial mapping, NFTs, digital assets, and workplace. So we don't do everything, but we do plenty. The metaverse is the future of connectivity, and we've been building that really since 2018, since we founded the company, creating 3D content and also now 3D environments. In the metaverse, content is king, and we have the content creation factory. 3D models, content creation. Human holograms, content creation. Even the metaverse itself, spatially mapping, we do that too. We create that content. So we really do have a solution for the metaverse, for people to get into the metaverse, and we're launching this as we speak. This is not, some pie in the sky solution. This is AR-tized holograms. I'm kind of, concerned about clicking on this again because I feel like it's just going to take me out. So I'm not going to click on it, and we'll show the videos later. But you can AR-tize yourself or turn yourself into a hologram and teleport to the metaverse today. Download our AR-tize app. It's AR-tize hologram. It's in the App Store. It's live. Create your human hologram, share it, and view it. You could be anywhere, anytime. And we're going to be integrating this technology into our spatial mapping technology so you could beam your hologram into the metaverse. AR-tized Maps is going live. You could see it says Apple and Google. It's going to be an app as well as an SDK. And it's the first mobile app in market for spatial mapping and mini metaverse creation. You only need your smartphone, creates the spatial map. You have AR wayfinding. That's basically an indoor version of Google. You could drop in 3D products that we connect to this spatial map. It's interoperable, no coding required at all. Super easy. So create your metaverse in 3 easy steps. The metaverse is essentially in your pocket because that's where your cell phone is. Create the map, add the content, publish and share. It's that simple. We've created hundreds of these experiences already. And if you read our press releases, we did this exact thing at the MIT hackathon last week, and we took silver prize. So that's, second place. AR-tized maps, again, spatially map any location, enter the metaverse. This is not a dream. This is reality. We've done it before. It's an end-to-end platform, people, places, and objects. So this is live, and we're moving out of beta literally this week. So super exciting time for us. We're connecting all of our technology. This was an experience we did for the City of London. If you look at the addressable market, the total TAM is 252 billion, comprised of 3 different segments. And if you look at where we are today, we ended 2021 with 25.9 million in revenue, up 47% over 2020. And if you look at our renewable software license revenue, that was up 316% over 2020. We see that growth continuing in 2021. And we have the beginning of the year, we started out with about 15 million in cash. So that's it, Jack. Can you hear me?
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Those are not okay. Perfect. All right. So I think the big takeaway. Well, first of all, I think the videos that you showed, the demos, I think there was an issue because maybe the connectivity, the internet on one of our ends. But those videos, people are able to see them on your website and also on Vimeo.
Yeah.
So anybody that can see the full demo and you know see what they were missing will figure out the connectivity issue later. But I think the main takeaway is that what's happened is basically since you launched this, really almost 2 years ago, right? The market was a little bit early. Like the e-commerce players, they were just getting into AR, and now we're getting into this kind of inflection point, this tipping point where it's becoming, you know, mainstream, which is, you know, what your chart clearly shows. The adoption is increasing. It's becoming like a mainstream thing.
And it's going to go parabolic. I mean, I just think people are dramatically underestimating the demand. I speak to the biggest players in the industry. I am on the phone. I do not, not join the conversations when there's a conversation with Target, Amazon, Google, Walmart, Kohl's, Pier 1. I'm on the calls. And what's happening is I'm hearing the same thing in stereo. And that is, how fast can you produce and how many models can you produce? Now, I want you to imagine any business. You could be in the chocolate business. You could be in the car business. You could be in the furniture business. You could be in the T-shirt business. It doesn't matter. Any business. We're selling 3D models. That's our business. If you're sitting there with the biggest companies on the planet that are basically your customers, and they're asking how fast and how many can you produce every month? I think that speaks volumes. I mean,
that's a quality question. That's the question that comes at that tipping point where this becomes it's really becoming a mainstream thing. I think, when you show that hockey stick, that adoption chart of, the number of, people using it, the number of models, all that stuff, we're still really in the very early stages.
Yeah.
I mean, people, AR, even though it's still not mainstream as we expect it to be in e-commerce.
No, it isn't. It isn't. It is for kids,
It's that's the thing. They're usually the first adopters. So whatever, so like the Roblox or whatever it is. So it's gonna be.
So what we're experiencing now is the very beginning of this mega trend. And I mean, my feeling is that all the big retailers are scrambling for supply contracts. They want to sign 12-month, 24-month supply contracts. And they're basically out there asking for RFPs, which are basically bids on hundreds of thousands of models over a period of years. And, that just speaks volumes. That just tells you that, hey, in the next couple of years, we're all going to be shopping online, and we're all going to be looking at 3D models and augmented reality views of everything we buy. Right now, there's a few things, but in the not too distant future, it's going to be everything. And NexTech is in front of that mega trend. And the mega trend is, in my view, about to propel us into a whole nother level, a whole nother valuation. And again, it's just not appreciated in the market today. It's still,
what it is, Evan. To me, it feels, like we're still very early in the adoption phase. It's almost like, I mean, I don't want to date myself, but it's almost like AOL, like in 1996. When people, it wasn't really on people's radar because the internet was it was already starting to go, but it was like nobody really knew, but like it was bubbling. All of a sudden, 97, 98, it was 97, it goes completely. And then after that, it went beyond parabolic. It just went like but it was happening, like that hockey stick. Well, it was growing and growing and growing. And then all of a sudden, it's like the dam just bursts.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, exactly. I mean, if you think about it, how many public companies are there that do what we do?
Matterport, there's only a few. There's literally a handful. I mean, like, actually, are you basically what Matterport does for real estate, but for e-commerce?
Well, I would say that we actually have better technology than Matterport, but I don't think we've revealed it yet. In other words, this slide deck really speaks to e-commerce and 3D models. But in the slide deck, I mean, that's where the majority of the presentation went, right? But if the investors were paying attention, we did showcase our metaverse mapping app, ARitize Maps. And that technology essentially does what Matterport does, where you could capture a room, spatially map a room or a building, and then have hotspots walk into the room. The difference here with us is that we do all of that in augmented reality in addition to online in 3D, right? They only do it in 3D on the web. We offer the augmented reality experience where you could literally walk into an apartment or a house remotely and walk around, walk into the bedrooms, walk into the living rooms and do like a whole house tour. I mean, it would have been huge during COVID, right? But the point is that everything they do, we're able to do at an even higher level. And the cost that, we're essentially going to disrupt the market because our cost is going to be much lower. The barrier to entry is going to be lower. With Matterport, I think they need, you need to subscribe and like buy their special equipment or, something ridiculous like that. So I think that there's, and Matterport, I think has like a $2 billion market cap today.
Yeah. So Evan, I want to get into some audience questions. We have some great questions today and we're a little bit pressed for time.
Sure.
So I want to just touch on 1 or 2 points and then we're going to jump into audience questions. So you mentioned something which I think is very important for people to understand is that you mentioned that Google and Shopify, they are ranking anybody who has 3D models or AR higher on the SEO, higher on the search, which is going to be, I think, a massive driver for adoption because everybody wants to get top search rankings because if you're top search, you get more sales.
Exactly. I mean, we spend an enormous amount of money every month just trying to get to the top search for 3D models. Like if you're online, you search in, 3D models, NexTech's going to come up. We're paying for that, right? Now imagine you have an e-com shop and you're selling a couch or a chair or whatever it is, and you've turned it into a 3D model and your competitor has not. When someone types in the name of that couch or chair, guess what? Your 3D model is going to rank higher than theirs, and it'll show up at the top of the page. Theirs might show up at the bottom or on page 2. You're going to get that customer. Google is driving the adoption, and Shopify and Google are partners, and they're working hand in hand to push 3D models into the market. And we only know this because we work with both Google and Shopify.
Evan, I just thought of something. Now, you mentioned that Pure One is one of your customers now.
Yeah.
So Pure One, are you working with, I think it's Ty Lopez bought that company.
Yeah, he bought a whole bunch of them. Yeah.
Are you working with Ty?
Yeah.
Because here's what's interesting. I mean, if anybody doesn't know, he's the guy that had all the famous YouTube videos. Yeah. I'm here in my garage. It was a thing on the internet. So anybody should, if they don't know, just Google "I'm here in my garage" on YouTube. But so Ty Lopez, the guy's an absolute genius of online marketing. That's what he's known for, online marketing. And what he's done in the last year, he's got out of the whole whatever he was doing with guru stuff, and now he's basically bought all these blue chip brands that had stores. They had physical stores.
Yeah.
They closed the stores. Everything is online. And essentially, so if Ty Lopez is using that's a massive endorsement because this guy understands metrics, monetizing. I mean, this is like, it doesn't get any better than that. I don't think. I mean, that's huge.
I agree. I agree. It's everybody is going 3D, not just Ty Lopez. I mean, the CEO of Target, the CEO of Walmart, the CEO of Home Depot. I mean, Ty Lopez is a bit player compared to those guys. You know
Right,
what I
right,
mean?
right. But he's a guy. He's a sharp online marketing. He's the guy that
He is.
really at the leading edge of it, and
Let's
then
put
the
it
mainstream.
let's put it this way. You don't know the CEO of Target or Walmart or Home Depot, but you know Ty Lopez because he's promoting himself
Right.
like crazy. But yeah, the point is he's just one of many that have identified 3D models. And we keep saying like we're the 3D model supplier that can supply and the biggest challenge for us is we're trying to ramp up. We're trying to get our factory to be able to produce 10,000 models a month, 20,000 models a month, 100,000 models a month. It isn't easy. It's not easy. It's
Oh, but you should also mention something that originally 2 years ago you had this the technology was very new, so you had this bottleneck. It was much more difficult
much more
then
difficult. Yeah.
than
I
now.
mean, we could do thousands of models
Yeah.
a month now. When we started out, it was like 1 or 2 or 3 models a
Yeah,
month. I mean,
it's exactly like the bandwidth thing. It's like Netflix. Before they
it
were
is.
shipping DVDs out to people, and
Yeah,
then when the technology came up, now the bandwidth, everybody streams. So and
exactly.
this is the thing, which I think people need to understand, is that there is going to be a massive increase in the adoption, and this thing is going to go huge.
No,
Okay,
so you're bringing up a good point. So there's going to be a massive increase in bandwidth, and we're driving that technology forward with our AI. I mean, that is the story, Jack. I think you've actually done what no one else has been able to do, and that's really define what we're building and what we're really trying to do. Is this is all a bandwidth issue? The demand is there. The demand is there. It's the bandwidth that's not fully there. So what we're doing is doing the pioneering work. It's almost like, remember Global Crossing laying the cables, across the Atlantic and trying to get, the bandwidth in place so that you can have this global internet. We're doing kind of the same thing with our ability to produce 3D models using AI, machine learning, and CAD to poly technology. Those are really the crown jewel. Those are the things. The 3D models in the end is the product.
yeah. So it's like you're exactly where Netflix was, 2007 or whatever, 2006, where the value of their business was that the AI, which all that stuff, the machine learning, which told them, hey, this is guy wants to watch that movie, whatever. But what they were missing was the bandwidth that took where they can go from the DVDs to the actual streaming and then fast streaming, and now everybody can stream. And now but you're there right now. So I mean, there's I think probably in the next 6 months, year, we're going to see massive, massive scaling here with what you're doing.
Yeah, yeah.
Again, because the key point, investors need to please repeat this. They need to understand. Just like with Netflix, the demand was always there. Everybody wanted to watch those movies at home. The demand was there. The bandwidth wasn't there to get it to them. So the demand is there. Everybody wants AR. Ty Lopez wants to show his Pier 1 furniture on AR. But it's only now you're able to do it.
Forget Ty Lopez. Amazon, Walmart, Target, they're much bigger. He's a very small player compared to the big boys. They really want tens of millions of products. Maybe he's good for 100,000. Like there's enormous, enormous demand out there, millions and millions of SKUs from the big boys. The challenge is back to bandwidth. How do you deliver on that kind of scale? And we're doing the pioneering work right now to get us there. That's it.
Evan, we're running a little bit late. We got another company coming up. So let's go to a couple of these audience questions. Okay, so 3D model factor end to end. Let me just go. There's a couple of good questions. Let's see here. Okay, videos. Okay. John is asking, what's your best guess on when we will see some serious sales numbers? I mean, define serious.
Yeah, I don't know what serious is, but we're working on multi-year contracts with big names. As far as, I don't know what serious revenue is. It's again,
100 million.
yeah. So the constraint, 100 million. Okay. The constraint is bandwidth. How do we deliver all the models? I don't see us getting to 100 million in 2022. That might be a 2024, 2025 type of thing where we're going to scale. And that's a big growth trajectory to get to 100 million from where we are today. So
journey of 1,000 miles begins, listen, Matterport, all these guys, I mean, Facebook, everybody had to start somewhere, right? Google. Okay. Question, how fast could 3D model, how fast can you create these 3D models in the future?
Well, I mean, again, the goal is to, in 2022, to hit the 10,000 per month level. So, if you do the math on that, divide that by, 30 days, let's say, because it's 7 days a week. Okay. So it's 3,000, 4,000 models. That's actually 300, 400 models a day. So, we want to get to 1,000 a day, 2,000 a day. I mean, these are big numbers. I mean, they seem actually small as I'm saying it, a couple of thousand models a day. When you think about the size of the market, hundreds of millions, there's a long way to go.
So there's basically, so the opportunity, the real opportunity, the scalability, let's address the scalability here is there is hundreds of millions of products, maybe it could be billions, SKUs, products, whether it's, pen, phone, whatever it is, all these things need to go to 3D. So, there's, it's massive, what is it? Blue ocean opportunity. It's like, it's wide open.
Yeah.
So
and I would add that one of the things that we've identified is that in order to enter the metaverse, you need a 3D asset.
And you're the on-ramp. So NexTech is the on-ramp to the metaverse. This is the key thing. I think this is, people need to say is, everybody's talking about the metaverse, Facebook, Matterport, all these companies. But for companies to get onto the metaverse and start monetizing, for them to sell their goods, they gotta go to NexTech or somebody like it, if there is, to get that 3D model. So whether it's Tier 1, whether it's Ty Lopez, whether it's Lamborghini, whatever it is.
For them to enter the metaverse, they need 3D models. I look at us as the metaverse gateway product. The 3D model is the gateway product that gets you into the metaverse. Then what do you do from there? There's lots of things you can do, but the gateway product is a 3D model. Period.
Okay.
The end. I mean, that's really how I view it. Is so you can't enter the metaverse without a 3D product. There's just nothing.
It's like with e-commerce, when they started e-commerce, day one, they didn't even have the shopping cart. There was like, maybe you had to call somebody by phone. It was just a website with a picture, right? But the website was your gateway. A web page was your gateway to e-commerce, and then that's it. So essentially, they need this, NexTech to get into the metaverse, or and this is a massive. So we're really at this early stage of this massive, change wave, this mega trend of, could be trillions. Let's get to a few questions.
And I think it's important that investors realize this is a multi-year journey. This isn't like, get rich quick. Like, it's not like an FDA approval.
Right.
It's
not a fad. This is not a fad. They said the internet was a fad. E-commerce, they said it was a fad in the year, 99. It was a fad, and it's not a fad. I mean,
at one point they said personal computers was a fad.
It was a fad. Yeah. The phone, the mobile phone, everything. Yeah. So, okay. Question. Then we gotta wrap up. Okay. Where are you with the whale? The whale. Huge.
So
company.
Moby Dick. Actually, I spoke to Moby Dick today, and Moby Dick basically said that he wants to do business with us. we're negotiating the final terms. Let's put it that way. So,
okay. Oh, interesting comment. Every auto dealer should have a room where they use the configurator, which people should watch that video, the demo, customers see color room. Oh, room, interesting. Okay. Supply paper. So there's a lot of different uses. What about military? Any interest from military with mapping?
not yet.
Okay. What are you doing with Amazon?
We can't really disclose that just yet.
Oh, okay. So give us a hint.
I don't even know. I mentioned Amazon, but I can't disclose.
Okay. All right. We'll save it for next time. Comment: if the economy slows, the tech will be even more demanding. Yeah, this is 100% right, because if the economy does slow, the e-commerce becomes much more competitive, and essentially everybody wants every advantage they can get to get more sales and less returns and everything else. So what NexTech does is, number one, is gives them higher search rankings because of the AR, which Google and Shopify is ranking higher. They get better sell-through, click-through, and because people can actually see what the thing looks like, there's less returns. There's no surprises. Oh my God, that boat was too big. It doesn't fit in, whatever.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Yeah, exactly. Significant. I mean, the ROI is significant. In the end, I like to say that our 3D models really cost them nothing, which is why the demand is so strong.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Let's wrap up. I think we're can they see on Shopify? Where can they see on Shopify what you're doing?
Yeah, if you go to the Shopify app store, I actually, in today's press release, there's a link to the Shopify app store. So just look up today's press release and click, and you'll see it'll hyperlink you right to the NexTech ARtized 3D app.
Great question. Many companies, individuals make 3D models. What makes NexTech different?
Klaus, you can make a 3D model, I can make a 3D model, but I challenge you to make 10,000 3D models.
The scalability, basically.
Scalability, quality.
Okay,
The quality. So you have to have photorealism. It can't be garbage, a junky 3D model. It's got to be quality. You got to be able to scale, and the price has to be reasonable. And we offer monthly subscription pricing, and so we're talking about $10 or $20 per month per model that you pay NexTech, as opposed to paying us, let's say, $250 for a model. You just pay us monthly for a minimum of 12 months. And then, we're seeing everybody's kind of like going to renew.
What's interesting? I think I get another like analogy is, okay, so we're talking about scalability and class, can anybody can make a 3D model, right? It's almost like, again, going back to like early technology, things change. Do you remember like when scanning, everybody was going to paperless office where people could scan on the computer, right? But when you had insurance companies, massive enterprise, and they needed millions and billions of documents scanned, there were all these companies popped up with scanning services, and those stocks exploded. That was like a huge thing, in the pre Y2K or right around then. So
yeah.
I don't know,
well, you just reminded me, actually, I don't know if you remember, but they used to have these trucks that would go around.
Yeah, with the scanners, right?
The scanners, but they also have shredders.
The shredders, right? So it's a huge. I remember buying that. I had to do that service. It's a huge thing. But this is much more. This is not a one shot. This is going to be like a continuing massive. There's years in this. Okay, let's wrap up. Let me see. I think we've covered most of the questions. We talk about scaling. Okay, so what's next in terms of news flow? What else can people expect to see? Like, in other words, what is the stock is starting to perk up a little bit. We're starting to see some buying in the stock. People are paying attention here. What can we expect to see in the next 30 days, 60 days, which can really get things moving in terms of
So it's a good question. So I've mentioned many times this idea of spinning some of our assets out And my feeling right now is that we have a number of assets in our portfolio that spun out as separate, let's say, public companies would generate a significant amount of value for NexTech shareholders. I see that as a potential opportunity for NexTech to really take full advantage of all the technology that we've built and really increase shareholder value. Right now, our shares are extremely depressed. And I just think it's partly because of the market sentiment in general towards small cap, but partly because our company's misunderstood. I think a way to unlock the value could be to spin out some of our assets. And so I'm seriously considering those types of activities. Nothing's definitive yet, but that could be a way to create shareholder value. Historically, if you look at other public companies, even GE at one point was spinning out a whole bunch of their assets as separate public companies. I've seen it in big pharma. I've seen it over and over again. And I think it's a potential successful strategy for NexTech as well, because we have like 6 different products, 6 different businesses really inside NexTech, between ARitize Maps, which is spatial mapping. That's our metaverse builder app. ARitize Holograms, where we could turn anybody into a hologram. That's the consumer packaged goods, the scan the QR code. And that could be an SDK for dating. That's a separate app. Then we have mapping software, Map Dynamics, which is our trade show and event mapping platform. We have our e-commerce business. We have our 3D modeling business, and on and on. We have our CAD to Poly technology. There's a lot of businesses happening. There's a lot happening inside NexTech. But I feel like if we had, maybe one of these businesses as a standalone public company that, investors in NexTech would benefit. And I think it could be something big that really turns people's attention towards what we've been building over the last 4 years, and realize that, wait a minute, like there's an enormous amount of value here that maybe NexTech is undervalued. So that's something that is definitely becoming more of a hot topic inside NexTech. And then, of course, we have all these product launches, Jack, which includes, I think this week we're launching our ARitize Maps, the Metaverse Builder app, and also our ARitize Studio, where you could log in and have access to all of our technology. So there's a lot happening at NexTech, not to mention Moby Dick.
Okay. And so I'm curious, how many, you have 6, you mentioned 6 really operations or assets, let's call them assets, how many of these do you think would be spun off? You do just one, or like which ones can you talk about which ones you're thinking of spinning out?
I can't really, I don't want to talk about it. I have given some thought, but I don't think it's appropriate right now to talk about it. But I would say that the idea would be to spin one out and see the success of that, and then you could potentially spin them all out.
Okay, no, that's interesting, because I think once you do one, people kind of get a taste, and there might be a very strong market reaction. Usually there is. Look, I think Intel announced they were spinning out, what's that, mobile? One of those things, and that's coming out I think in a few months, and that moved the stock. So there's actually a lot of value inside the company that could be unleashed here. So okay, Evan, last question. That's it. We're gonna let you go. Last question, favorite question. Right now, based on what's in this company, top 3 reasons why investors should consider NexTech AR today.
Well, the number one reason is I believe our share price is at the basement bottom. The stock is at multi-year lows. And so if you believe in the buy low, sell high philosophy of investing, you're certainly subscribing to that by buying our shares, which I believe again, are at multi-year lows. So that would be number one. Number two is that, as mentioned, the business is quite strong. The demand in the market is quite robust. And we are looking at some significant contracts that could really change the whole trajectory of the company. And then I would say that number three is that when you think about NexTech and you think about small cap stocks, there's, my view, very few, if any, companies that has 6 different businesses or technologies in one. So you get diversification. You're not tied to just one thing, which I think is a huge, huge benefit to investors. And again, I think it's undervalued and underappreciated. But as an investor, diversification is a good thing. And so, we offer a diversified metaverse portfolio of investments with one investment.
You know what, Evan? I just realized I have another maybe metaphor we could use today, which is okay. So you have all these kind of hidden assets. These days, I don't really understand this, but apparently the big thing is people buy these packs of Pokemon cards or baseball cards, like these big boxes, and there's like valuable cards in there, and like you don't know what you're getting. You buy it's like a mystery, and then you open it, and it could be worth like $100 grand or something. So that's what NexTech is. It's that pack of the Pokemon cards or whatever the box, and we don't know. There could be you have 6 things in there. There could be one of these things could be worth 10 times more than the actual business.
I mean, if you want to use Pokemon, I mean, that's kind of funny, but I get your point. Is that the point is that the value is still to be determined. It's not currently being reflected in the share price. And I think if we spin one of these assets out, we're going to find out very, very quickly whether our thesis is right.
Okay, excellent. Evan, on that note, I want to thank you, and we'll catch up with you on the next big news announcement.
Great. Thanks, Jack.
Okay, all right. Thank you, everybody. Let's get ready for our next presenter. Sorry, we're running a little bit late. Here we go. Origin. Let me get Matt.
Jack.
Okay, so I'm sorry we're late. Thank
Jack. You. Our investors and interested parties are going to be disappointed. We're running behind.
I know they're protest. There's a lot of we got enough protests as it is. I mean, Okay, hang on a second. Let me get everything set up here.
Yeah.
1 second. Okay. Okay. Wait, just this. Okay. Okay, everything is on the screen. Everything is correct on the screen, right? Everything is here.
Everything is good. Yeah.
Okay. I just want. Is it possible? Okay. The sound on your end is a little bit muffled. Can we get maybe if you hold it closer or something? I don't know. The mic part.
Or maybe without. Better now.
Better now. Yeah. Talk again.
Better now. Okay.
Yeah. Much better.
Okay.
Much better. Okay. Whatever you're doing now, it's good. Okay. Let me get everything set up here. We got. A lot of people waiting patiently, like this guy here. And
scary.
Okay, so let's get set up with before we go into. Let me do a quick intro, and then we'll get going here. Okay. Welcome, everybody, to Wall Street Reporter's next Superstock live stream, April 12th, 2022. We are back with Origin Foods, OGGFF. Probably one of the best opportunities right now in the specialty retail, organic retail, CPG, plant-based food business. Company doing, 30 million in revenues. Stock is deeply undervalued. I think we're trading at 20 million market cap. There's literally a 10x upside. And anybody following our program has seen we've had so many companies we introduced at ground floor that have increased 10x to 50x, 1,000 to 5,000%, literally. And all these companies, they're very same exact model as Origin. They address multi-billion-dollar market opportunities at a key inflection point, multiple catalysts in place. And then, all of a sudden they get more eyeballs on the stock, more visibility. They hit a couple of milestones and the stock explodes. So that brings us to Origin. Matt, welcome back.
Jack, good to be here. Finally glad to be on.
Yes. Thank you again. Thank you for waiting. So I know you're busy, guys. I'm going to, hopefully we can cover everything today. So the stock is, I didn't check it, but it was up, substantially today. I think 15%. So there's a lot of U.S. We're noticing a lot of U.S. market interest in the stock coming in, which is, I think, very compelling because, really, at this point, not, it's going to change, but at this point, Origin is Organic Garage it's a Toronto-based company. You have these 4 organic retailers, doing about 30 million. But it's just a small regional thing right now, just like Whole Foods was, when they were in Austin, Texas, 20 years back before scaled up, or Starbucks before they, scaled from that one coffee shop in Seattle. So same thing. But also very important is I think there's a lot of eyeballs on the stock in the US because a couple of things. When you came on the program, I think back in October, you said, here's what we're doing. We're going to be launching this, the CPG, the branded, the plant-based brands. We're going to have multiple SKUs. We're starting off with, butter, cheese, dairy alternatives. We're going to go to other products. And you've been doing it. But now you've also said that you're going to enter the US market, which was what everybody's waiting for. And we're seeing you've very methodically, you've built a very strong foundation in the last 4 months. And we had one of your advisors on last week. This got the other Matt. We had Yossi on. And so bring us up to speed. Enough about me talking.
No, look, I want to come on. We had a really big press release, last week when it came to our FDA clearance to be able to sell into the US. And, for those of, your viewers who happened to see our previous interview on here with our new advisor to our advisory board, Matt Merson, given his CPG experience. And, he talked about where he's currently working, which is Simulate, which sells frozen plant-based like chicken nuggets. And he talked about their go-to-market strategy was originally a direct-to-consumer market strategy, and they really pivoted towards retail during COVID. And it's interesting because we had always, our path, had always taken us to, the point we are at right now, which was to get FDA clearance, to be able to sell direct-to-consumer in the US and pave, the way towards entering bricks and mortar. And that's exactly what we've done. So having Matt on board was a key step in our evolution. And, I discussed this way back in October that we were going to be looking at adding, key people, which we've done, and then methodically working towards this FDA clearance to be able to sell direct to the consumer in the US through e-commerce, and then through bricks and mortar as we continue to finalize, our discussions with co-packers, like I previously discussed. So we're right along our path. Super exciting to finally get that FDA clearance. The amount of consumer interest from US-based customers is through the roof. It really pushed us along to get this FDA clearance finally signed off on. You'll see some updates to our website coming for US-based customers to be able to order online. It will start initially just, we'll launch with direct-to-consumer in Canada, but very shortly after direct-to-consumer in the US. So look to our website for website updates over the next 30 to 60 days at most. And we're super excited to be able to get product into the hands of all the US consumers that have reached out to us or, seen me here on your program. So it's a monumental step in the evolution of our CPG division. And we're super excited about it.
I think, it's very critical for investors to understand because essentially 2 things. One is, you've done literally everything you said you do. You've been executing everything that, you said you would do back since October. So you've been delivering. So there's a consistency track record. Now you've again, the foundation, you've put together a team in place right now between Matt Merson, Yossi Haber, guys who have built billion-dollar CPG brands. I mean, not once, but multiple times. I mean, this is like an all-star team, and especially weird stuff. Like, I think Yossi had some weird yogurt stuff, which became a whole category.
Yeah.
This guy Matt did something with plant-based chicken nuggets, some crazy, bizarre stuff, which became huge. And these are billion-dollar things now, and they're doing the same thing. They're going to be doing the same thing.
Well,
Or they are doing.
I think for anybody viewing this should understand, you know, and I'm glad you touch on it, is look, we do have a plan and it's very precise. And so appointing Yossi with his marketing background was very specific because of his marketing background. He launched new categories into the consumer base through his experience at Danone and other companies. So having him on board to help guide us from a marketing perspective was very specific. Matt Merson's appointment was specific on sales. Matt is a seller. He talked about his examples through Vitamin Water, through Zico, you know, now with Simulate, always on the forefront of the sales side. He knows the wellness space well. He knows every major player. So from a sales perspective, it was a big check mark to get him on board to help guide us when it comes to sales in the US and the Canadian market. And then I don't want to forget, you know, hidden in the recent FDA press release was announcing one of our board members is taking a more operational mindset towards our CPG division, which is Michael Lovesit. And for those that have read Michael's CV in terms of his background, you know, formerly with Loblaws and Shoppers, you know, worked with Coles, one of the largest retailers in Australia, but also operated his own business representing Australian companies in the North American market, knows CPG very well. And it goes to designating some resources to the CPG side, understanding, look, I can only split myself so many ways. So having that attention and focus on the CPG side helps us, escalate and increase the speed to market of the decisions we're making on the CPG side. And look, I don't want to underestimate, you know, the word is starting to get out now in terms of what we're up to. We're starting to get contacted by other CPG brands for us to evaluate their brands. And this is where
this is the big next story, is that the M&A. This is the thing that,
well, yeah, it's something, you know, we don't talk too much about, but it was also the purpose of reorganizing the company in the way we did, was to look for other like-minded companies in the CPG space where we could get synergies and economies of scale. So having Yossi, Matt, and Michael all focus on the CPG side means that we have a great team to evaluate CPG brands that come to us and whether they're a fit for us. And then our existing management team, even within the future of cheese, you look at somebody like Craig Harding, you know, and his chef background, you know, to leverage his experience to be able to get products, to evaluate for taste profile, any changes we may have to make. That's all in-house now. That is not something we have to outsource. So we're starting to get companies, you know, reaching out to us, you know, very interesting, you know, to start these conversations and see how they evolve. But, you know, it's all coming into place, and it was all part of the plan. We knew we wanted to put the team in place. We started with Yossi. It led to Matt. It meant designating some more operational expertise and having, you know, Michael's involvement. So the team is in place. The FDA clearance allows us to unlock our e-commerce potential in Canada and now the US, which is huge, to go direct to consumer while we continue to build the market presence for Future of Cheese's products. We're continuing our discussions with co-packers, which I'm very excited to, you know, to see and hear the developments as the team is working towards that. I appreciate everybody wants, you know, it to happen yesterday, but I outlined it previously on this call, and Matt, it was a great kind of reinforcement, Matt Merson, in terms of making sure we make the right choice with the co-packer, because, you know, Matt outlined it. You know, there's 35,000 conventional doors in the US, and I think another 5,000 natural and organic. You're talking 40,000 doors in the US market alone. And so if you do not find the right team in terms of producing the products to potentially meet that demand, you know, it could quickly hit a wall. And so we're taking the time to understand the co-packers' capabilities and making sure we have the right partners in play. But it's all part of the plan. It's a very methodical plan. And I'm, you know, I'm happy that you recognize that, you know, we're executing on that. And I'm super excited by every step that we've made is the right time, you know, the right step at the right time with the right people.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, look, the reality is, look, investors, retail investors, they want everything like overnight in 3 days. But here's the thing they have to realize is, okay, so Matt Merson, here, key takeaway point. I suggest everybody watch that video last week, that was it 10 days ago, we did with Matt, with the two Matts. And again, he's the guy who's built billion-dollar brands, basically selling brands into these massive chain stores, Kroger, whatever it is, thousands and thousands of doors. And I asked him, I said, hey, point blank, and he's like, he's a relatively conservative guy, right? So I said, hey, how is it possible that we can get Future of Cheese, just the cheese stuff, day roll into, $10,000, 5,000? Yeah, he said $5,000, no problem.
Yeah.
And that's with the co-packer. And Matt, let's do the math. $5,000 would equate to how much in sales, ballpark?
Well, my original math, when I was on this program was, our goal was to get to 8 or 10 SKUs. And I don't even want to touch on the SKU development because some of the stuff I've seen coming out of our commercial kitchen is out of this world. Like some of the stuff that the team is developing, just unbelievable. So the goal was to get to 8 or 10 SKUs, pack 6 with an average cost of, I think it was $5 per unit to a distributor, because some SKUs will cost more, some SKUs will cost less. So pack 6, 1 case per SKU per door. I can't remember, it was 500 or 1,000 doors, was 7.8 million in sales. So you can extrapolate that out, with 1,000 doors, 2,000 doors, 5,000 doors.
Plus. We're at 50 million plus. So basically, year one, 50 million.
It could be very dramatic. And Matt Merson's example was, he got nugs over a 2-year span into 10,000 doors in the US.
10,000 doors. That was this crazy chicken plant food, whatever it is. He got this into 10,000 doors, which is a lot, right? So if he could do that for that, he could do this for
yes. And for any retailer, frozen space is even more valuable than refrigerated space. So there's a lot more potential with our SKUs to be placed, in a refrigerated space much easier than it is with frozen. So it's a great example of a plant-based item, a market disruptor that got adopted into 10,000 doors in the US over 24 months. And that was with COVID, which extends things much longer. I think we have the ability to penetrate much faster into the US market than something or a product line like that.
Okay.
So it just shows the capability and the potential for the business.
Okay. Well, Matt, this is extremely important. Gilbert Saint-Yves, one of our, Canadian, Quebec penny stock billionaires, who actually made a lot of money with peak fintech. I think from 70 cents to like the top. It went to, it was a 20 bagger. He actually bought that car. It's a Jaguar convertible. I think he's down here in Florida now, instead of freezing in Quebec.
It's getting warmer. We're getting warmer.
So if he's buying OG, that's a massive endorsement. Look, I'm actually, that's not really a joke, because this guy is a very sharp guy. He's gotten on ground floor of a lot of stocks. And for some reason, if he's buying OG now, to me, that's that's the best endorsement. That's an incredible endorsement.
No, it's great. We have a great shareholder base, and the word's getting out, in the greater business community. Like I said, we're starting to get emails coming in now saying, hey, look, we have a great brand, would you take a look at it? And would it fit for you guys within your CPG division? So, we haven't even unlocked the full potential of that as we look towards potentially adding to our brand portfolio on the CPG division. So, there's just so much upside. The FDA clearance was a huge one for us. It takes a lot of, energy with the team, a lot of paperwork. You have to certify your facility to be able to sell into the US. And so the website, was already optimized, from an e-commerce side. So we're going to be unlocking that in the next, 30 to 60 days at most. You'll be able to log online, order it, a product, and have it shipped across Canada, across the US. And so we can start to get product into people's mouths, which we're super excited about because we know we have the best product out there.
It's interesting. I know a lot of people think, direct to consumer, but it's interesting. A lot of these, I'm calling them weird brands, but a lot of these niche food products, they start off with direct to consumer, nationally or globally, what have you, because then you kind of start spreading the word, if you will, and you have these influencers pop up, and you have brand, and people become it's a word of mouth, and but that's just the first step. That's not going to be the main. It's
not the main, and it goes to what Matt Merson's talked about with Simulating. They started as a direct to consumer brand, and the reason for that is it's not always easy to get products nationwide. You look at the U.S. market, and to go national is sometimes a challenge right off the get-go. So sometimes you start in a regional market, but getting product nationally into consumers' hands through a direct to consumer portal, like a online, website
You know,
that you can ship direct, allows you to build market presence prior to a brick and mortar expansion. It also allows you from an analytical standpoint to understand
ooh,
where are the customers buying. So
demographic.
yeah, so demographics. So where
I
do you
didn't
want
think
to
about that. That's
launch?
genius. That's genius.
And especially from a national launch, in the US, when you talk about how many states, it's not possible to launch in every state all at once. But if you're seeing a huge pull from California, hey, look, we got to get product there first. Or if it's, somewhere in the
Iowa, I don't know,
Northeast,
whatever. Yeah.
well, it could be, yeah, And so it allows you to
Texas.
get that market intel from the consumers ordering online of where are you getting the most orders
By
from.
zip code. By zip code.
Yes, absolutely.
Because, for example, we know that Kim Kardashian is a big into the plant-based foods, and when you see massive orders of future cheese go to, I don't know, wherever she is, I don't know, in Calabasas or wherever,
Yeah.
so this is the zip code. So then you go to those retailers and say, hey, look, we got a massive demand here in the zip code. You better stock up on these products, or
it allows a much more targeted and focused approach, which is great for speed to market and getting good ramp up. So it's great for market intel, and so you're absolutely right. And so it's a great strategy as we continue to solidify the co-packer to be able to produce product to do a launch into the US and across Canada as well. So it's a great first step. You're right, it's not the primary step. We're not an e-commerce business. We are a brick and mortar CPG producing product business. And so that's our end goal, but it's a great interim step to not only generate sales, but to gain market intel of where orders are coming from.
Okay, I didn't even think, but that okay. So really, again, this is part of the thing is the direct. I didn't realize. I didn't like the Okay, but the direct marketing, the online marketing, basically lets you know who's buying and the real demographics, which is extremely valuable, extremely valuable. So over the next couple of months, as you actually get the co-packer, then you get into then you're gonna have all this data. You can, so it really gives you. I mean, it's. A lot of retail people, they don't understand what goes into building, a billion, literally $1 billion brand. They don't know that you have to lay the groundwork. You got to have analytics. I mean, there's a whole science to this. I mean, this is not like, hey, I got a cheese or whatever. We're gonna. There's a lot to this. Then you need the co-packer, which allows you to scale and really build, something that's going to be sustainable, because you don't want to have a situation where, okay, you got 5,000 doors, you got 5,000 orders. All of a sudden, these guys want it and they're out of product. You don't want to have empty shelves. I mean, those, they got to have that, that real estate.
And just talking on the marketing side, just going back to the power of e-commerce and that analytics and data is it allows you also to target your marketing efforts. You can, geolocate in terms of marketing targets for the markets that are purchasing the most of your product to continue to ramp up, interest. So it's a great first step. It provides a great foundational, step of the information to launch off of. So it's, it was all part of the plan. This was one of those key steps that we milestones we wanted to reach. And so last week's press release was a culmination of a lot of hard work. But for me, it's the launching point for the next steps we're working on, which is super exciting.
Yeah, it's it's sort of like a submarine. It's under the water. Nobody says, when is this cruise missile going to pop out? All of a sudden, it pops out of water. Like, I was like, whoa, surprise! That's what this is. I mean, there's a lot going on under the surface which people do not realize. And again, let's reinforce the message. Matt Merson, who is an expert, he's basically gets products he's doing this for decades, right? He's done multiple brands. I'm trying. Let me look at my notes. I think he did the Zika,
vitamin water. Yeah,
Zika, the coconut water.
Yeah, but vitamin water. I mean, it was another huge one. So yeah, he's got a whole host of brands and a repertoire to pull from, and we're following a lot of that blueprint that those companies follow. Yeah. A lot of them start with a direct-to-consumer, model to build up awareness and
like
interest.
Zika water. What is Zika? Whatever it's called, the Zika.
Yeah. And so it's a tried and tested approach that allows, for much easier conversations than cold starting with retailers. We know the markets that will be in demand. We can tell retailers, hey, we're already selling into your market. We know the demand is in your neighborhood. It just changes the conversation. So this is a foundational pillar milestone of this FDA clearance And I think people should be excited. Stay tuned to our website. Over the next 30 or 60 days, the e-commerce side of the website will open up. You'll be able to order direct to your home. We'll be able to gather intelligence that way. And that is, basically the starting point as we continue to negotiate with numerous co-packers, picking the one that will allow us to scale with. And that will be the next big milestone that we're working towards.
Okay, we're going to jump into the audience questions in just a second. So again, big takeaway. I want to repeat this for the third time. Just let it sink people's heads. Matt Merson, okay, this is an independent guy. He's not. He basically said 5,000 doors, no problem. Getting future of cheese products, 5,000 doors. Once you have the co-packer. Again, the co-packer. That's that last thing. But the 5,000 doors equals $50 million. $50 million a year business. Very possible. He's done it before multiple times, right? Over and over again. It's like he's got the system down. You also doing the marketing. This guy's doing the getting into the doors.
Sales, yeah.
$50 million based on I don't want to like make people crazy here, but look, let's say even 5 times the revenue multiple for plant-based, which is reasonable, 5 times. I'm not even saying 10 times. So it's $250 million valuation, right? We're not even including the retail stores, the organic garage. 250 million divided by how many shares you have now? 50 million or something?
Almost 60, I think 60 million. Yeah.
Okay, so that would be $5 a share. Excuse me, no, 450 a share. I don't want to exaggerate.
If,
So we're
if
talking
you
about
say so, Jack.
450 a share minimum, and that would be roughly a 10x from here, more than a 10x.
Yeah, look, it speaks to the potential. Look, we know the potential in the US market. We know the amount of inquiries we're getting. We know what we have in the pipeline for SKU development. I said, our focus was, not to rush to market with our next batch of SKUs. We want to work and perfect them with the co-packer. But I'm telling you, some of the stuff I'm seeing out of our commercial kitchen is just unbelievable. And so the key thing is get to that 8 or 10 SKU mark. We pack our cases, small, six units to a case. It's very reasonable for a retailer. You're talking about fast turn categories. People consume butter, things like cheese on the regular. It's much different than, like a frozen entree that you're not necessarily eating every other day or something like that. So it's a fast consuming thing. And so when we ran our numbers, it was just turning 1 case per SKU, per door, per week. And it got us to those numbers. And we feel that that is very reasonable, very conservative, not overreaching. We already have analytics that of stores, and look, I'll include Organic Garage, where we're turning more than 1 case per SKU per week. So just as an average, some stores will sell less, some stores will sell more, but 1 case per SKU per week, 8 to 10 SKUs, pack 6, average unit cost of 5.
Bottom line, if you want to be like Gilbert right now, you got to go to the Lamborghini dealer, put in your orders next. There's like a 9 or 10 month wait list. By then, the stock will be $4. Again, this is not advice, but okay. But this guy, there's massive. This company has a lot going for it. And not only do you have the management side with people who've done it before, who've done these things. Now you have the smart money investors coming into the stock, the guys who know when to get in at the right time.
And just once again, that's just the future of cheese side. That doesn't include M&A activity. It doesn't include continued growth.
We're going to talk about that at the end. We'll talk about the M&A because that's the last. I want to address the M&A. I want to get to audience questions because I don't want to get more people complaining. They're saying I'm insulting Canada. Whatever. Even though I'm wearing my Order of Canada award from Justin Trudeau. Yeah.
Okay.
Make penny stocks great again. Canadian penny stocks great again. No. So question here. Frank is asking he's basically the stock is going to rocket. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, look, we'll be excited, for the first orders that we ship out direct to the consumer, and then from there to bricks and mortar. So I don't disagree with you, Frank. I'm super excited for the next steps.
Can you clarify this? Okay, so regarding FDA clearance, there's a difference between the drugs and food. This is food. So
yes,
can you? I think there might have been some confusion.
No, we don't expect any problems. So FDA approval allows for any company selling into the US. You have to get a specific number to be able to ship products, food-based products, into the US. And so you have to go through various paperwork procedures to get registered with the FDA and to be able to ship direct to consumers and have it cross the border and not have it become a problem. So the team worked really hard in preparing all the documentation. It speaks to your facility, the products that you have, the ingredients, anything that could become a problem at the border, you know, you need the clearance so that it doesn't halt, it's not halted at the border. And so the team worked really hard in ensuring that we got that and that we could sell direct to consumers in the US.
Question from Mo. There were rumors in the past for potential buyout for Farm Boy. Now that OG is growing their own product or CPG, could there still be a consideration of a buyout? I guess he's asking is, hey, are you going to be focusing more on the CPG and sell off the retail stores potentially for, you know, I don't know, a couple $100 million or?
I can't speak to rumors. What I can say is there was a methodology of reorganizing the company in the way we did, which was, you know, renaming the parent company Origin Foods, having two distinct divisions, a retail division housing Organic Garage, and a CPG division housing Future Cheese and any other future assets. And that was because it allows us to buy and sell assets without fundamentally changing the operations of the company. And so you can imagine, you know, the previous name of the parent company was Organic Garage. And if at some point somebody wanted to buy Organic Garage, what that would mean for the public vehicle, it'd be very difficult. So by structuring the company this way, it gives us a ton of flexibility to evaluate options for both sides of the divisions, including Organic Garage. And look, we know what we have with Organic Garage, the retail side. We know the path that we're trying to go down in terms of the opportunity that exists in our local market, let alone any other future markets. And we know the value that's attached to that, especially in the specialty food space. So we you know, we'd never, you know, not talk with anybody about, you know, potential acquisitions or sales, and that includes the Organic Garage division. But we have a lot of good things coming in the pipeline for Organic Garage that we continue to work towards, and so we believe there's lots of upside potential there that we still want to execute on.
Oh, speaking of Organic Garage, Frank is asking, could we expect more store openings within 6 months, possibly?
I don't think you're necessarily going to see store openings, but what we are going to hopefully show, I think very soon, fingers crossed, is a path towards the growth that I previously discussed on interviews on here, which is we did want to take a serious step forward with the business. We felt getting to that 8 to 10 store mark was very important, you know, whether it be synergies, buying power, overall functioning of the company. And so our real estate team's been working very hard, you know, scouting locations across Ontario. And I definitely think, you know, fingers crossed that you're going to see some announcements within the next little while when it comes to new stores, and so that you can see the runway for the growth potential for the Organic Garage division.
Okay, so what does that mean? Let's try to read between the lines. Are you going to announce basically lease signings? I think you said you might do 4. You might announce 4 at once. So in other words, you might announce the upcoming stores and then they open, you know, I don't know, 6 months later.
Yeah, all the different sites that we've evaluated have different, whether they be, you know, existing real estate, soon to be built real estate, so different timelines. And that's the hard thing, you know, like
US market.
The the real estate market is very dynamic. So it's impossible to line up everything perfectly so that everything is pre-built and everything can be occupied all at the same time. So there'll be certain different starting points. But what we do want to show is that we start filling our pipeline, and so that people can see the revenue run rate towards the growth trajectory that we want to hit. And then people can extrapolate from there, you know, what that means for the company. And I think that's what we're working towards is getting those announcements out, saying like, you know, like we signed a location, here's anticipated opening date, and continue to have those announcements, you know, flow.
Okay. Question here. Arthur was asking, are you, I thought OG wanted 8 to 10 SKUs before expanding to US. Is signing a co-packer on the horizon?
Yeah, so when it comes to our FDA clearance and selling direct to consumer, the great thing is we can sell what we have now. It doesn't stop us, and it's great. We can gain sales and market intel. But in terms of the next SKU development, like I mentioned, I am super excited about what I've seen coming out of our commercial kitchen. And you know, we might not be launching it now in the current state we are, because we do want to tweak those recipes with a co-packer. It's important that the next round of products that are launched are developed in tandem with the co-packer to ensure that they're scalable. And so I think, you know, in terms of order of events, my goal is you know, we'll announce a co-packer, and very shortly after, you're going to see a kind of a flurry of new SKU announcements as we work to perfect those with the co-packer. And it will come in tandem in terms of our co-packer and getting production up to scale, launching the new SKUs, and then having that SKU repertoire to meet with different retailers in Canada and the US to present to. So it's not one or the other. It's just a process we want to follow, because commercializing any CPG brand for mass production is much different than small production. And so it's great, and a lot of people do this. They'll develop something in their kitchen and have to tweak the recipe to have it suitable for scalability. And so we don't want to make that mistake. We don't want to rush to market with something and then have to take a step backwards to tweak it and then roll it back out again. So we'd rather develop the recipes, have the product formulations, the trial that we've already and are already doing. And like I said, I've seen the videos of the product. I've seen the products in person. I've tried unbelievable products that the team is developing, so that we're ready to meet with the co-packer as part of our discussions. Say, hey, look, we have another 4, 5, 6 SKUs. Let's talk about any changes we need to make them commercially viable in your facility.
Yeah, it's a little bit like Origin Foods or Organic Garage has been called the Tesla of plant-based foods, right? And just like Tesla, look, they had a great product, right? There was a massive demand, massive potential of everybody wants it, right? But they first had to kind of figure out, how do they scale? How do they get the factory? How do they get everything organized? Because not to produce one car, but to produce 10 million cars, whatever it is.
Yeah.
The same thing here is that. Yeah, because right now you're doing essentially, relatively small scale manufacturing, but to go into 10,000, 10,000 doors, you need massive scale. Of course, it's not as difficult as making an electric car. It's much simpler, but still, there is certain things you want to make sure they get the ingredients and whatever. I mean, I'm not a food manufacturer, but there's a process. So you want to make sure that they can do it, that the flavor is going to come out right? All those things.
Consistency. It's got to execute at a high level. And
touch and feel. The cheese has got to be the right touch and feel.
And it's a great example. It's you don't want to rush to market. And so, that example, holds true, to some of the core beliefs of the path that we're following. We're going to stick to that. Look, it would be great to rush to push things out, but you know what? It's a mistake. And it's one thing that Matt Merson called out on the previous interview. And I do encourage viewers, if you haven't seen it, definitely watch it. But he did mention, in a lot of scenarios with all those different brands he discussed, Zico Water, Vitamin Water, Simulate. A lot of it's all about operations. It's your ability to execute, produce, because once you push for sales, you don't want to be revisiting your operations. And so it's creating that sound foundation to jump off of. A lot of people think it's just a selling exercise, push, 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 push. But if you don't have the operations to back it up, you fall flat on your face. And so we're not going to do that.
Right. That's interesting. Yeah, because it's funny, because I think I asked him a question at the end of something with McDonald's, and he basically talked.
It's all about the systems. Hello? Hello?
Matt?
Yeah, Jack.
Matt? Okay, we had a little internet problem. Okay, stand by. Okay, hang on. Let me just call. Let me see if I call. Oh, Matt, you there?
There? Am I there?
Okay.
I froze? I thought that was you.
There was some technical thing. I don't know. Maybe it was short sellers trying to
Oh.
hijack the internet. Okay, but we're getting just to the good stuff. So
yeah,
bottom line is, he's basically, so you know what? I'm reading between the lines now of what he was saying. I didn't get it before, but I understand it now. Is basically he knows, my takeaway is he knows he can get your product into 5,000, 10,000 doors, but before he does it, he wants to make sure that you have the scale and the manufacturing capacity in place to get the product there. So, which is a very important, so the sales are not going to be a problem.
Yeah, no, and it's just creating that sound foundation. And near the end of that interview, you're right. It was talking about McDonald's, and it comes down to the systems, the repetitive execution of specific items. And so, manufacturing is no different. You want to be able to have consistency and deliver on, the brand's quality, in mass volumes. And so you need to have those systems and the key partners in place.
Okay. Question here. I think somebody was asking. Okay, so SKUs. Okay, bottom line is you're going to announce more SKUs when you have this co-packer. The co-packer, people asking, when is the new co-packer going to be the big news?
That's the big one. Yeah, I wish I could say, but it's just one of those things we have to work through.
Okay.
I wish it would have happened yesterday, believe me, but just trust anybody watching this that, it takes a tremendous amount of due diligence, and you have to trust the people we have involved, the Yossi's, the Matt Mersons, the Michael Lovesons, the team at Future of Cheese, and that they're following a specific process, and we have to go through that process. So yeah.
Okay, because it's really, I think it's people need to understand that this co-packer really essentially that's the manufacturer. You gotta have that's like getting married. It's even more important because this is like real money.
Yeah.
This is like a serious thing. This is you gotta make sure that the product is on those shelves. So you want to get it done right. So it's going to happen, if it happens, next Thursday at 1 o'clock, or it happens, whatever it is. But so far, look, you've delivered everything. Sometimes things take, a week, 2 weeks long, or whatever it is. That's the way business works.
It is.
Even Tesla went through the same thing. It's
good analogy. Absolutely.
You have quality problems right now. Okay. Let's see. Here's interesting. Okay. So, okay. Any deals coming up with the restaurants? Are you going to be supplying the restaurants? Are you going to be selling?
We already are selectively through our existing channels here in our local market, but it absolutely is something we continually get asked from a food service side. And it's something that, we're also exploring in tandem with, the co-packing capabilities, is producing food service sizes of specific items like the butter. So it's something that, it goes in tandem with our conversations, not only for retail packaged product, but for food service packaged product as well.
Okay. Sorry about this. Apparently there's a problem with an internet connection somewhere. Let me just call Matt. Okay. Matt.
Sorry, Jack. I don't know what's going on there. The internet's not liking.
Somewhere the internet is. Okay. So bottom line is we're working on the co-packer thing. Everything is on track. Last quarter, this is the big thing is, okay, so what makes, I think one of the big blue sky upside opportunities is, the potential to go beyond just the dairy alternative, Future of Cheese. I mean, your goal of doing, this separating the company into Origin Foods and the CPG side is to have multiple, plant-based, organic lifestyle, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Because once you have those your foot in the door with 10,000 retailers in the US or even Canada, you can sell them whatever. I mean, like cereal, meat, organic, plant-based, whatever, right? I mean, that's the idea.
Anything, yeah. It's a family of brands, and presenting one or presenting 10 it makes no difference. So
yeah. So it's what do they call it? Economies of scale, basically.
Economies of scale. It's shared resources. It's leveraging the management team to provide guidance for any of the brands, within that division. And so, the team is there from the marketing side with Yossi, to the sales side with Matt Merson, to the operations and oversight with Michael Loveson, to the existing team we have in place with Future of Cheese, and from a culinary standpoint with Afram and Craig. All the pieces are in place there to not only evaluate brands that were being pitched, but once they become into our family, to help perfect them and grow them. So yeah, it's absolutely on the horizon, and the word's starting to get out. We're starting to see more inquiries from specific companies, and it's great that we have the team to be able to evaluate them all.
Yeah. Here's the big takeaway that people need to understand. Look, there's I know, like, especially in Canada, there's a bunch of different stocks. They say, yeah, we're going to be doing a roll up of plant-based brands or this or that. But the advantage that you have is you have massive insight, deal flow, and intelligence into these brands, because you have 4 retail stores with thousands of these SKUs. These guys come to you all day long. You're getting new products introduced to you. You see exactly how they sell on the store shelves. It's almost like you're Netflix. Netflix, what allowed them to go to the movie business, because that's what they do. The big thing is that they make their own TV shows or whatever it is, is they had that data and insight to know who watches what. Like, we have, male 18 to 35 watches this. This guy lives in whatever, in I don't know, Texas, they want to watch it. So they knew exactly who their potential customers were. And you have that same type of data and insight. So you're like the Netflix of plant-based, the Tesla and Netflix together.
Yeah. So we get to see, obviously, North American-based products, and have a familiarity with them and understand them and evaluate them. But just our general market insight allows us to understand even products that are maybe not in our home market. And look, I just recently got an email from a European-based product that approached us about a potential acquisition. And whether it's in our domestic market, at least we have a familiarity with the product lines that the company might be in, whether it be oils or grains or other things like that. And so it gives us an ability and a leg up in evaluating things. And the team that we surrounded ourselves with, they're all foodies. Yossi, Matt Merson, Michael Loveson, and by extension, Craig Harding and Afram Pristine. And so to be able to evaluate brands and make decisions, and have the market insight to know what's up and coming, or if it's a market or a product line in a foreign market, to be able to evaluate it, and compare it to what we know, to be able to make a good decision. It's just, you can't put a price on it.
Yeah, no, let me ask you, so what do you think? Do you have any M&A deals to be announced? Any product acquisitions that you expect could be announced the next 3 months?
I don't want to say anything specific, but I will say is that we have ongoing conversations and we're being approached all the time. And so, these things do take a little bit of back and forth to make sure that we're making the right decision, and we want to make sure that we're taking on brands that we feel can add tremendous value. But I think what investors should be encouraged about is, and we knew it would take a little bit of time. We just recently announced, the change in the corporate name, and kind of this idea of, 2 divisions with the CPG division, and the idea that we're out there, looking for companies. And so we knew it would take a little bit of time to start having the flow come in. And what is encouraging is that flow is starting. And so, not every deal is going to be right, to be accepted. But it gives us insight into valuations and things like that. And for every deal that we turn down, it still allows us to take away something in terms of market insight. But I'm encouraged by some of the things that we're being approached with. And I think, it speaks to the idea that, hopefully sometime in the future, I definitely do think that we could have some announcements with some acquisitions.
I'm sorry, I interrupt. Okay, you were saying something valuable, and it was so in the future, this stuff is coming up.
No, yeah, and I think yes, I think sometime in the future, definitely that's something that I'd be excited to be able to announce, because I think it will happen.
Okay, so whatever you're saying, I know you're very conservative, so that means something could be happening, in a week, 2 weeks.
You know me well,
Something
Jack.
big, there's big
You
things
know me well.
brewing. Question, okay, related to stores. This guy is asking, can I don't know if he's asking, are you opening, or maybe he might be one of franchise. Mo is asking, can I open up?
A great question. We do not franchise, but what I will say is we are taking an aggressive look at the Ottawa market. We feel that that market is great to support on its own, probably 4 to 6 stores, given kind of the competition that's in the area. So yeah, I do think there's potential in that market, and it is something our real estate team is looking at. Same thing, we discussed about, we showed previously, very early on in my interviews here with Jack, a territory map of Ontario and breaking it into territories. And so it's always important for us to kind of have 4 to 6 stores in a specific territory. And I think Ottawa would fit that bill. So it is on the target list, so to speak. So we are taking a look at it.
Okay, no, this is great things are in the pipeline here. Okay, bottom line, to wrap up, you have we could expect an announcement about new stores, maybe lease signings sometime very, very soon. And again, everything just, it's if it happens 2 weeks, 2 months, what it doesn't, listen, somebody's a long-term investor. You got to take the Warren Buffett approach. I mean, this company is like a Warren Buffett type of story. It's not a tech story. It's a product story. You got to look at this over a 3 to 5 year period. It's like Whole Foods, Starbucks. Those companies, they became these monster 100x wins over a period of time, right? But once you have that foundation, it doesn't really matter if it happens a week, 2 weeks. There are things out of your control in terms of, the world. COVID, this, that, whatever.
I think some exciting catalysts that investors should be looking forward to is obviously for the first products to be shipped into the U.S. market direct to the consumer. So I'd say look for that over the next 30, 60 days at most. I think you'll see some postings about that. I think, to look forward to, us finalizing an agreement with the co-packer, which we're working towards. I don't want to put a specific timeline, but I can say it's top of mind. And in relation to that, additional SKUs that will come out of that relationship. And I think on the other side of the Organic Garage, retail division, you can look forward to some lease signings that I think we're getting very close to. So you got 3 or 4 key catalysts there, not including any listings within the U.S. market and bricks and mortar or anything like that could come out of after the co-packer. And the co-packer is basically the start. That's when the fun begins. So I think, but just initially those 3 or 4 catalysts, I think there's lots of good upcoming news to come even out of those 3 or 4 things.
Okay, so if you're saying there's good catalysts, people have to magnify that by like 20x. It means it's going to be great. So bottom line is there's a real path for this thing to be, again, we just said, $4 or $5 stock. Once you get that 50 million, so that way Gilbert can upgrade to like a Ferrari or a Lamborghini, and he can pay for all the gas. The gas prices are up. I know in Canada it's probably double what it is, like a liter or whatever they have.
Hey, we export to you guys, so I think the gas prices.
He's going to come and get that tar sand, that sand. He's going to make it right into the thing. No, this is going to be very, very, very exciting. Okay, Matt, on that note, I want to thank you, and we look forward to hearing more like incredible news from Origin Foods in the coming weeks on store openings, co-packers, new brands, M&A.
Shipping products to the U.S., absolutely. Looking forward to it, Jack.
Fantastic. Thank you again.
Thanks.